Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Sunday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I'm Aina Kweyom. In the news tonight, planning for drought preparedness can minimize the impact of drought to some extent on a farm business, but the effectiveness of the plan depends on the time it is implemented. Agribank's technical advisor for livestock and rangeland management, Erastus Ngaruka, said in general there is a huge cost burden on livestock farmers in Namibia as a result of degraded rangeland and water scarcity, which are exacerbated by climatic events such as drought and high temperatures. Therefore, emphasis should be placed on integrated rangeland and water management systems to harmonize the use of the two resources. The agriculture sector is fundamental to livelihoods in Namibia. However, it faces several challenges associated with climate change. The effects of climate change are evident as Namibian farmers have endured recurring unfavorable rainfall seasons that present distinct conditions or events such as flood, drought, pest, and disease outbreaks, amongst others, he said. Moving over to our next story, Irongo Police spokesperson Chief Inspector Eleni Shapumba just confirmed a suspected drowning incident in Swakopmund on Saturday, 8th of June at around 3:30 p.m. near the jetty in Swakopmund. It is alleged that a male person dark in complexion who was wearing a red t-shirt was allegedly observed by the employees of jetty restaurant drowning in the sea and disappearing into the water. A search for the body of the man started yesterday but yielded no results. According to Sheriff Shan Naude, a team of private divers have been put together to continue with the search today. In our next story, the government institution Pension Fund hosted a Taste of Heritage media engagement event on Friday at the NFA Sports Field. The event, which took place between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., featured a food heritage cook-off, allowing staff from various media houses to demonstrate the dishes they grew up with as children. Katrina Sikeni, GIPF's manager of stakeholder engagement, emphasized the significance of such interactive events. It's important to engage the media in this manner as opposed to just via press releases, Sikeni stated. We want to interact and build relationships with one of the important stakeholders for GIPF. The event highlighted the diverse culinary traditions of Namibia, with journalists and media personalities showcasing their childhood favorites. The cook-off format fostered a sense of camaraderie and nostalgia while also celebrating the rich cultural heritage of the nation. In addition to food, Namibian music was used as a soundtrack for all activities, further enhancing the cultural experience. The event provided a vibrant atmosphere where media professionals could connect with the GIPF representatives in a relaxed and enjoyable setting. The Taste of Heritage event exemplified GIPF's commitment to fostering strong relationships with the media, recognizing their crucial role in disseminating information and shaping public opinion. By blending traditional food and local music, the event not only honored Namibian heritage but also strengthened the bond between GIPF and its media partners. Namibian Sun also joined the event to capture some moments. Moving over to our next story. President Nangolo Mboba says Namibia's ocean is a critical economic resource, generating 10 billion Namibian dollars annually and contributing 5% to the nation's gross domestic product. Mboba said this vital asset, which supports thousands of jobs and ensures food security, faces significant threats from climate change and human activities, underscoring the urgent need for sustainable preservation conservation efforts. He said this at the World Ocean Day, where Namibians gathered along the scenic coastline to celebrate the country's deep connection to the ocean and emphasize an urgent need for its preservation. Our proximity to the ocean has enabled us to benefit from fishing in our ocean and other water bodies, which contributes 5% to the gross domestic product, which a revenue of 10 billion Namibian dollars annually. This industry creates thousands of jobs and significantly contributes to our food security, President Buba stated. He warned that rising sea levels, ocean acidification, plastic pollution, and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices are just a few of the challenges. It is therefore imperative that we take urgent action to address these issues before it is too late, he said. After the break, we return with Story of the Day. Stay with us.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nhom.na.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
In our Story of the Day segment tonight, veteran Namibian artist Nikki Murray held an art talk at the National Art Gallery, delving into her ongoing exhibitions, which is titled Bearings. The exhibitions runs until Saturday, the 6th of July.
Leaving Windhoek was basically leaving my kitchen, because the kitchen has always been the center of my home, even though I'm a terrible cook, but I love to eat. So, that's the center. And then, so the Omasigo here, the temple shape is here, and the trig beacon. So I'm sure you all know what a trig beacon is. It's the beacon that that surveyors use to decide the exact position of every single thing. So it seemed like it was one of those amazing things. It just up from my house in Oneuptwo, where I walk in the evenings up into the dunes, there's a trig beacon there, and I've always loved that shape because I'm a formal abstractionist. You know, I like shapes and I like forms and I like things that are kind of moving symbols. And through all this talking about my work, you know, you kind of work out things in your head by talking about it and like what you do, trying to sort of work backwards through your process and trying to find out how the thing works out. And I think that the best way of describing it is every painting is like a puzzle that I set myself. So I set the puzzle, and sometimes it's a really difficult puzzle. It has to be forced apart, like those little Christmas cracker puzzles, you know, that eventually you yank them apart. So they're forced to the end. And sometimes the puzzle just comes apart easily. And then you have no idea how you do that. And that's another thing about painting like this, is that you have to trust the process. You know, you have to know that you know how to paint, because every painting is different, and every painting has a different process. Every painting there's a different outcome. And no two paintings are ever kind of even vaguely the same.
After the break, we return with Community Talk, where Flamingo Secondary School has won 10,000 Namibian dollars after the break.
Introducing 061 Express, brought to you by Synergy in proud partnership with Windhoek Express. Here's your chance to make your voice heard to celebrate the businesses that make Windhoek exceptional. From your favorite coffee spot to the salon that always gets your style just right. It's time to shine a spotlight on the gems of our city. Over the next 8 weeks, it's your chance to vote for your favorites to recognize the best of the best. Nominations open on the 25th of April and close on the 5th of May. To nominate your favorite business, simply save this number: 085 785 6231 and WhatsApp #061 Express or scan the QR code below and follow the on-screen instructions. By nominating your favorites, you're not only supporting local businesses, but you also stand a chance to win your share of 50,000 Namibian dollars in cash. The voting process will be the same as the nominations process, using the Synergy chatbot and the #061 Express. Voting opens on June 5th and closes on June 23rd. Make sure to cast your votes for the best of the best. The winners will be announced on June 28th. 061 Express, celebrating the heartbeat of Windhoek. Get ready to make your mark.
In our community talk tonight, Flamingo Secondary School scooped 10,000 Namibian dollars in the June Small Trash to Treasure competition. The competition comprised of schools creating sculptures out of trash. Flamingo Secondary School created a flamingo sculpture which depicts an older flamingo teaching a younger flamingo how to dispose trash properly. In the second place was the June Secondary School, who created a sculpture of an elephant and dolphin where the desert meets the ocean. In third place was the International School of Foulfish Bay, who created a seal. After the break, we return with economic news. Stay with us.
Are you tired of just hanging around at home while waiting for something to do? Check out eticket.diary.my.na for what's hot on the social scene across the country. Or if you're arranging an event you'd like us to feature, contact Jareen at we.com.na. We can sell your tickets too.
In a recent report by the Open Budget Survey, it reveals that Namibia's progress on budget transparency, while also highlighting areas for improvement. Namibia scored 54 out of 100 on transparency scale, falling short of the 61 threshold indicative of sufficient public access to budgetary information. This score, however, represents an improvement from previous assessments. According to the report, while the availability of key budget documents has increased, with the audit report and year-end report now published online, a gap remains in public participation. Namibia's score on the public participation scale sits at a mere 20 out of 100. The report identifies a lack of formal opportunities for the public to engage in the budget process at various stages, including formulation, approval, implementation, and audit. The report indicates that although the Ministry of Finance and Public Enterprises has implemented some initiatives such as pre-budget deliberations and public consultations during budget execution, there remains a need for more inclusive practices and recommends engaging directly with vulnerable and underrepresented communities, potentially through civil society organization, as a way to ensure inclusivity. And now let's have a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades for 23 Namibian dollars 94 cents to 1 British pound, 20 Namibian dollars 36 cents to 1 euro, 80 Namibian dollars 86 cents gets you 1 US dollar. All commodities have dropped, with gold at 0.49%, platinum 4.24%, copper 4.73%, Brent crude oil 0.66%. And after the break, we return with international news, where adults and teens are concerned about their screen times and they are turning their smartphones into drama models.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
In our international news tonight, adults and teens concerned about their screen time are turning their smartphones for drama models. Buried in the settings of many smartphones is the option to look up how much on average you are staring at your phone per day. It can bring an uncomfortable realization that was supposed to be a useful piece of technology has become an obsession. Social media is built around fear of missing out, so I felt like I couldn't get off it. This is according to 16-year-old Luke Martin from Canada, who told the BBC. Instantly, I got Instagram and it was a downward spiral. Luke is not alone. According to a study by Harvard University, using social networking sites lights up the same part of the brain that is also triggered when taking an addictive substance. This has raised concerns about phone habits among the youth. In the UK, research by Ofcom estimates that around a quarter of children aged 5 to 7 years old now have their own smartphones. Links have been shown in some studies between the use of social media and a negative effect on mental health, especially in children. Some campaigners want an age limit to be introduced for smartphone use. Others, like Luke, are choosing to swap their smartphones for much simpler devices called dumb phones. His new phone only has text, calls, maps, and a few limited tools. My friend's usage is like 5 or 4 hours, I think, and that's how much mine used to be before I got this, he said. Now mine is like 20 minutes a day, which is really good because I only use it for what I need it for. Parents are also turning to dumb phones, not only for their children, but to help themselves become more present to their families. Moving over to our next story, a lengthy jail term has been handed to 22 Chinese citizens and a Cameroonian man for cyber-related crimes in Zambia. The gang's only female convict, Gu Taijao, reportedly cried "Papa, Papa" as her 7-year sentence was announced in Lusaka Magistrate Court on Friday. Some in the gang, including its mastermind Lin Xiaolin, received up to 11 years in prison. The group's members were also fined between $1,500 and $3,000 each. Victims as far afield as Singapore, Peru, and the United Arab Emirates fall prey to their online scams, the Zambian authorities says. After a trial lasting several weeks, the Perpetrators pleaded guilty on 3 charges: computer-related misinterpretation, identity-related crimes, and illegally operating a network or service. The 22 people jailed on Friday are among a bigger group of 77 suspects arrested in April in connection with what authorities called a sophisticated internet fraud syndicate. The swap on a Chinese-run company in the capital Lusaka followed an alarming rise in internet fraud cases in the country, targeting people in countries around the world. After the break, we return with the weather predictions for tomorrow. Here are the weather predictions for tomorrow. Katima, Mulilo, and Rundu can expect a minimum of 10 degrees, Enana 14 degrees, while Ochuarongo can expect 11 degrees, Ventuk a minimum of 9 degrees, and Khobabes a minimum of 8 degrees. Hentis Bay and Pulfish Bay can expect a maximum of 27 degrees, while Rehoboth and Caitmanshop can expect a maximum of 25 degrees, Oranjemund 30 degrees, while Marienthal 26 degrees. After the break, we return with the sports news. Stay with us.
Are you tired of just hanging around at home while waiting for something to do? Check out eticket.diary.my.na for what's hot on the social scene across the country. Or if you're arranging an event you'd like us to feature, contact Jareen at we.com.na. We can sell your tickets too.
In sports news tonight, England's T20 World Cup defense is already in danger after a damaging 36-run defeat by Australia in Barbados. After a roaring start, their old rivals piled up 201-7 before England's batters fell away badly in their pursuit. Joss Butler and Phil Salt reached 73-0, but after Salt fell in the 8th over, England slipped further and further behind the required rate as wickets tumbled. Moving over to our next story, George Russell took Mercedes' first pole position of the season ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen at the Canadian Grand Prix. Russell's and Verstappen set identical lap times of 1 minute 12 seconds dead, but because of Brighton banked his first, he will start the race from the first place. Lewis Hamilton could manage only 7th in the second Mercedes as Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri locked out the second row for McLaren. Ferrari failed to get either car into the top 10. Charles Leclerc 11th after winning last time out in Monaco, with teammate Carlos Sainz at 12th place. The second Red Bull driver Sergio Perez was knocked out in the first session for the second consecutive race. The last time he was in the top 10 on the grid was 3 races ago in Miami. And in our final sports story, Vincent Abubakar scored twice and Andre Onana saved a stoppage time penalty as Cameroon convincingly beat Cape Verde 4-1 in McBray's first game in charge of the indomitable Lions. Bray's appointment in April had opened up a row between the country's football federation and its Ministry of Sport, but the Belgium coach introduction to international management was largely stress-free. Stay with us as we return shortly after the break.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us. creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Here are the highlights from tonight's broadcast in case you're just joining us right now. Step-by-step guide to planner to manage drought. Limited public participation hinders Namibia budget transparency. Australia beats England. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, which is called oneuptwo.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And with that, good night.